You believe we've got our own team coming in to present 5 minutes each what their backgrounds, not their backgrounds, but like what their career journeys have been like. How did they make it into Eric? Because I assume, guys, that Eric is, to be honest, let's face it, the one company that everyone wants to work for. But that was a joke, guys, don't worry. But they are all wonderful examples of people who all wanted to make it in the creative industries. They had a creative passion and then they ended up doing something slightly different. And they all love it. Obviously, they have to say that because I, run the company, but I believe them when they say it. So let me let them all in. Hang on. So we've got the lovely Ellie. I'm assuming this is the right Ellie, so I'm letting you in. Oh, we've got May. May is here. May, I didn't think you were going to make it. Phoebe. I can see Phoebe. I can see Selina. I can see... Oh. Hang on a sec. Oh, guys, also the numbers are going up. I feel like Eric is drawing a crowd. Where's everyone else? Oh, is anyone... Okay, panelists. I've got 5 panelists. Will's here. Josh. I'm looking for Josh. Oh, there we go, Josh. Okay, guys. Do you want to all turn on your cameras? Just so people can see who you are. Hi, guys. Okay. So here are the people who will be presenting to you. Phoebe is also here somewhere. Hang on. So we've got 5 team members who are all going to be sharing their own individual stories with you. They have made presentations, so please everyone give them a round of applause because, I mean, they've put effort into this. We do have an order of play. So am I correct in thinking that Will is going to go first?
Okay. Yes, you are.
Right, guys. Okay, well, the rest of us, should we put our cameras off and everything? So I just wanted everyone to see who you are. I feel like that was a good introduction. Right, Will, it's over to you now.
Fantastic. I'm just going to share my screen so you can see my presentation. Can you see that?
Yes, we can now, yes. Although we can see the presenter view, by the way. So you're sharing your whole screen.
Oh, well, I don't want to do that. So let me just try again.
Just one window will do, I think.
Right. Is that one window?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Fantastic. Okay, so hello everyone. I am Will. I am the Partnerships and Ambassador Coordinator at Eric, which essentially means that I work with creative companies and charities to make sure that they're making the most of the Eric app so that you can get as many opportunities and as much advice as possible. I joined the Eric team in June last year as a marketing and events assistant after a very rocky job hunt. And I've worked in various industries over the years, but for today, I'm just going to focus on how I got into the creative sector, which means going right the way back to here. This is me at 6 years old in my very first pantomime. I loved doing theatre, and it was kind of the only access that I had to a future in the creative industries. Acting was the only creative thing that I knew could lead to a career because I had no access to all of the things that go on behind the scenes. Needless to say, I was a little naive, and acting was my focus until I went and did a degree in theatre. This is me in my final show. Already pretty decided that acting wasn't for me. So what changed in the 3 years that I was at uni? Well, besides a whole host of setbacks that include a global pandemic that left my confidence in absolute tatters, I also, for the first time, got access to new creative options like event organizing, stand-up comedy, prop making, and script writing, just to name a few. Some things I loved even more than acting, which I actually ended up doing a master's degree in script writing. And I thought that was me kind of set. I was living in London, I was building connections, and I was going to work in the TV and film industry, and nothing was going to stop me. except for the fact that London is incredibly expensive. And so when I finished my degree, I had to move back home and leave all of those connections behind. Despite having multiple qualifications and having retail and hospitality experience, and extracurricular experience in event planning, arts admin, and public speaking, I spent the entirety of 2023 unemployed, which is not how I imagined starting the rest of my life. I applied for everything: retail, hospitality, marketing, public planning, the civil service, script editing, production running. I even applied to be a mascot at a Christmas grotto, but I was too tall for the costume, which was gutting. Nobody wanted me, and I sent hundreds of applications for a grand total of 3 interviews. I spent hours rejigging my CV, writing new cover letters, trying every way you could possibly think to do both, and nothing really worked. And I finished 2023 completely demoralized. So I decided that 2024 had to be my year. It couldn't get any worse. And I reached out to a local Amdram group to reconnect with my theatre roots. I turned up and essentially said, "Hey, I'll do whatever." And they certainly ran with that. I made so many props, learnt to mend costumes, and built my confidence back up. And pretty quickly, things started to fall back into place. In April 24, I finally got a paying job as a venue assistant in a theatre in a tent in the car park in the middle of Oldham. I had no lighting experience, but I learnt on the job and had an amazing time. But as you can probably tell from my career history, it didn't last very long. In June, this is what I turned up to. The tent being demolished after being wrecked by the Great British weather, and I was absolutely gutted. But it just so happened that at the same time, I was also interviewing for a job at a little company called Eric. And after a great application process requiring no CV or cover letter, the two absolute banes of my life, I got an interview. Then I got another one, and both seemed to go amazingly. And I had a fab story to tell about how my job had blown away, and I'd still had to tech the show that was meant to be in there. However, despite getting down to the final few, I got the rejection call from Sam on the same day that I found out that the rest of the theatre programme had been cancelled. I essentially lost out on 2 jobs in the same day, but I was still hopeful because I got some great feedback and was even promised a job when the marketing department expanded, which was expected to happen at the end of 2024. So I was quite surprised when the very next morning I got another call from Sam offering me the job as a marketing and events assistant. And so my journey with Eric started. Since then, I've had the chance to learn so many new skills, work with a great team, and shape my role into what it is today. And I really love what I do, even though it's been a very rocky road to get here, but well worth it. So, what have I learned throughout all of this? Number one, don't force yourself to fit into what you think employers want, because you might end up leaving out what makes you great. Number two, job rejections aren't always a reflection of the quality of your application. Sometimes someone else was just a better fit. And number three, always give new things a go. You never know what avenues it'll open up for you. Thank you for listening, and I hope I've shown that even if it feels like your career is stalling, you will get there eventually. And I'd now like to pass you on to the wonderful Selina.
Thanks, Will. I'm going to quickly share my screen, so please let me know if you can see it when I do that. Um, Let me just present it. Okay, perfect. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
All right, thanks, Ellie. Okay, cool. Hi everyone, I'm Selina, and I've been at Eric for almost a year now. I'm the new partnerships lead, so I basically reach out and introduce Eric to companies that would be good on the app. But aside from that, I also manage Eric's LinkedIn, so I create and post content daily on there. But before I worked here, I had actually recently graduated from a musical theatre degree. During university, I studied musical theatre and also was part of a hip hop competition squad. So that really put me out of my comfort zone. I was spending most of my days choreographing, learning, teaching, and performing dance to large audiences all across the UK. It was a really fun opportunity to travel with my team, win competitions, and meet loads of great dancers and cool people. But this wasn't really a surprise to myself or my family or my friends. I'd always been creative from a young age. I studied performing arts, English, and psychology in college. And even before that, when I was really young, I was always drawing, singing in the car, dancing in the kitchen, watching High School Musical on repeat with a remote in my hand as a microphone. So when it came to picking a course for university, choosing musical theatre was kind of a no-brainer. But I quickly learned that it was not like my expectations or things that I had seen in the movies. I actually didn't like the singing or acting aspect of it, but I did like the dancing part. Nonetheless, I actually got a lot of transferable skills from it that I still use to this day, whether it is in my daily life or at work. A couple of them are teamwork, leadership, and communication, being able to work with people you don't know or haven't met yet. Obviously, being creative, thinking outside the box, critical thinking. It wasn't always practical stuff. It was analyzing texts, literature, scripts, pictures, stuff like that. The confidence to perform in front of people I don't know and speak publicly like today. Also tech skills like lighting effects, sound effects, and set design, as well as discipline and organization. So one of our modules, we had to create a company and we had to plan events, set up the social media, do the brand awareness and marketing, which is all stuff I do today. But after I graduated, I felt really lost. I felt like I only really enjoyed the dancing side of it and wanted to pursue that, but I didn't have enough experience or the guidance or the connections to kind of get to my goal of being a backup dancer for like Rihanna or someone. So I actually worked for a year in hospitality, which was so tiring and not at all what I wanted to do with my life until I came across the Eric app. I saw one of Sam's TikToks promoting an opportunity on there and downloaded it straight away, and it was a game changer. I was scrolling on it every day, looking at all the opportunities and resources and companies on there until I found my role on there. And I applied for it, and luckily I got the job. So a year later, I am working at Eric, still using skills that I learned from uni, hobbies, and previous jobs. Even though my job is nothing to do with musical theatre, I do use these skills every day. So like in sales calls, I have to speak to people I don't know, be confident in what I'm saying, and memorize what I'm saying. At networking events, I attend like a career fair every month. I've got to meet hundreds of people I don't know that day. But my creativity does come out in the content creation side of things. So obviously I edit content and videos and posts for LinkedIn. I get to organize that and think outside the box on how to get the engagement on Eric for LinkedIn. But the three things I want to leave you with today that I wish I could go back and tell myself, and things I still tell myself today, is to definitely put yourself out there, whether that's joining a new club, starting a new hobby, applying for that job. Everything you learn, everything you do in life is a learning experience, whether you're learning new skills for that or learning what you do like and dislike and want to carry on doing in the future. It will always benefit you. Also, do more of what you love. Definitely pay attention to what you're doing in your spare time and what you're passionate about, because that will always indicate what you'll be good at and what you'll want to pursue in the future. And also believe in yourself. I tell myself this every day still. But honestly, if you believe in yourself, then you are halfway there to achieving what you want to achieve. So I'll leave you with that. Please remember that for your career journey and good luck with everything. I'm going to pass you on to Ellie now, who is going to speak a bit about her experience in the industry.
Thanks, Selina. That was great. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen as well. Window. Perfect. Okay. Share. There we go. Okay, I think it's just loading, but let me know. Can you see this, everybody?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Ellie and I am the copywriter at Eric. I've been working at Eric since September 2024, and I'm just going to be chatting to you about how I got here and my journey to working in this role at Eric. So for A-level, I took English, history, and drama. And at this point, I was set on being an actor. However, I wasn't ready to leave the academic writing behind me, so I applied to study English at uni. However, when I got my grades, I was 1 mark off the entry requirement to get onto the specific course of the specific uni I wanted to go to. And at an open day that I attended, because I went on my year after, so I had a bit more time to apply, like in my gap year and stuff. I had a conversation with an English lecturer in the corridor, and he told me not to bother, that I wouldn't get in, and that if I did come, I would be bottom of the pack and basically struggling to keep up the whole time. But I applied anyway to a different course, and then once I got to that uni, I transferred to English because I was determined to do that course. And so in 2022, despite the predictions of that lecturer that I met in the corridor and actually never saw again, I graduated with a first class degree in English from the University of Nottingham. One of the reasons I wanted to go to this uni was because I was looking for a uni with a good student theatre, which Nottingham was known for. And I pretty much dedicated all of my free time to theatre. I was on the committee in third year as front of house manager, but I also tried on many different hats while I was here: acting, stage managing, script writing, publicity, directing, and producing. And the opportunity to try all these things kind of augmented my passion for script writing. And I then knew basically like acting and writing was where my passions truly lied. And I had some experience in a real like running theatre. And then after that, I ended up applying to do acting and writing at different drama schools and ended up doing a script writing course, just like Will, in London, in writing for stage and broadcast media. And it was actually here that I was chatting about, oh, I want to find more creative opportunities and I don't know where to look. And somebody, one of my peers, told me about Eric. So I downloaded Eric and I started using it for finding events and for open calls for scripts and poetry competitions and things like that. But after I finished my master's, I was still left wondering, what did I want to do? I was curious about how I could find a job that fulfilled my passions, my skills, my interests, and it just seemed like a huge world that I just didn't know how to get into. So after I finished in 2024, I was a bit lost. I was looking for jobs all the time. I was constantly hunting whilst working in hospitality, and I ended up just cold emailing some film distribution companies. These companies weren't offering any internships, but I thought, why not? I'm going to get in contact with them, did my research, and said that I would love to work with them. And they ended up running a week-long internship, which led me to work for a company for a little bit, reading scripts. And basically, they would give me scripts, I would write reports on them, and basically just like help them decide whether they were worth funding or not, which was great experience, but I still wasn't sure what I could create a career out of at this point. So whilst working in hospitality, in my spare time, I continued attending scratch nights where I would read my unfinished, messy writing and hearing from other people. I created and sold my own mini poetry zines. I also had poetry published online and in magazines, and I still continue to run and host open mic nights when I can. And then eventually I saw that Eric, the app that I had been using for a year or two now at this point, was advertising for a role as a copywriter. And I thought, this is perfect. I really like this company and what they stand for. They've helped me a lot already. I care about their mission, and I would love to be paid to write full time. If I felt like it combined my interests, my skills, my passion. So I applied, and eventually I ended up working at Eric with this lovely, inspiring team, which is great, and I'm loving it. So my top takeaways from my experience is back yourself and the skills you already have, which goes in tandem with hobbies that are helpful. The things that you are interested in and passionate about may not seem CV worthy. However, they set you apart from the crowd. And if you can speak honestly and authentically about the things you love in interviews, I believe that makes you different and more memorable. And all of those experiences are helpful, even if they don't seem like they're worth putting on a CV. They definitely are. So all of that free time you spend doing it is totally worth it. Be curious. The reason I found the Eric app was because I was asking questions, talking to people, and yeah, I ended up finding my job through it, which was great. And also be open-minded to the job that you end up getting or that you might look into applying for. It might not be exactly what you had in mind. However, now that I'm working for a creative company which combines my interest, passion, skills, and has a purpose that I care about, in a job that, to be honest, copywriting, I didn't really know was a thing until I went to uni. But I feel like it encapsulates a lot that I care about and a lot of my skills, and I'm very grateful for that. And finally, don't be scared to email. Even if you just end up getting like a nugget of advice from somebody, it's totally worth it. If there's a company you really like, people love to hear it, or someone you admire, get in touch, and you never know what might come from it. So those are my tips, and just good luck to everybody. I hope that this has been helpful. So yeah, now I'm going to pass on to Josh. Oh no, sorry, Phoebe.
Sorry, I was like, oh, does Josh want to go before me? But it's all right. Let me just share my screen quickly. 1 second. Let me just try that. Sorry, I don't know why it's not working. 1 sec. Trust me to have some like technical issues.
Also, Phoebe, your audio was a bit crackly. I don't know if that was just me, but say something again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better. I don't know why.
I think because I was like tapping next to the mic. It's me again. Sorry.
Overload on the computer.
I don't know why it's not. Let me try sharing.
Yeah.
Is that working?
Well, yeah, it kind of is. It says Phoebe has started screen sharing. I mean, it's very slow. Okay.
Let me see if this works. Can you see this?
I feel like it's being really slow. So no, we can't basically, no. Do you want me to share?
Yeah, sorry, it's always my laptop. Like it hates Canva. I think anytime I share screen with Canva, it's like absolutely not.
Yeah, no, I'll share it. Don't you worry about that.
Thank you.
Okay, let me quickly go. Sorry, I've got 1,000 tabs open. Do you know what, Josh? Why don't you go while Phoebe and I sort this out? So, Josh, yeah, on you go. You share.
Thank you.
Am I gonna have issues now?
Okay, I'll stay on here just in case. You're right, Josh.
No, it's like I can't see the screen. Like it won't. I've never done this. Google Chrome.
Okay, guys, don't you worry. We will sort this out. We will work it out. Sorry, Phoebe, I'm just finding yours because I can't remember where you shared it with me. So,
Sam, I've got to quit and reopen to share my screen.
oh my goodness me, you two, jeez. Okay, off you go, Josh. Phoebe, you're back on. I'm trying to find your presentation wherever you sent it to me. I'm so sorry. I've got so many things going on. I'm not sure. Could you just send me the link in Slack? Is that possible? Okay, well, while we're waiting for the team to get their tech issues all sorted, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to talk to you about the information packs, the resources spreadsheet that we have sorted for everyone. So, guys, sending this to everyone who is watching. This is our ultimate resources spreadsheet that we have assembled together for you. So there is everything that you need to know in that spreadsheet in order to keep yourself up to date with what's going on in the creative industries. We have recommended trade bodies you need to follow. These are the people who know everything about what's going on in their industry. We have trade publications that you need to be keeping up to date with. Those are places where they are reporting industry news, things about what's going on, like all the people that are being appointed to different positions, stuff like that. So definitely get that. Definitely go have a look at that spreadsheet. There's also general resources as well. So all the speakers throughout the week have been recommending resources or places to go for you to be able to learn more. I'm collecting together all the links that people are mentioning and putting them in that first tab on the document. So that is going to be very helpful for you. So I will make sure to update everything as it's going on. I'm sorry, I've got people messaging me on Slack. So bear with me, guys. So sorry. Here we go, Canva. Right, I've got Phoebe's presentation ready. Oh my God, guys. Like it's the 11th hour of National Careers Week and the tech is falling apart. But we've managed to hang on this long. So we're definitely going to watch the next presentations. Phoebe, would you like to come back on to the Zoom? Thank you very much. And I will share my screen and we will be able to kick off this section. Present a view, minimize that. Get that up. Okay. Right, guys. Okay, Phoebe, let me know when you want me to go to the next slide, yeah?
Thank you. Yeah, sorry about the technical issues. I honestly think that my laptop just can't handle sharing a Canva presentation anymore. So anyway, but yeah, as you can see from the screen, I'm Phoebe, head of content at Eric. And I just want to tell you a bit about my squiggly career journey. So Sam, next slide, please. I guess it all kind of started around 2018. So a few months before these like smiley pictures that you can see was my A-level results day. And similarly to Ellie, I picked up my results. I just hadn't quite got the grades to get into my first choice uni. But I think that my heart definitely sank at that point. But all was good. Like I actually did manage to get into a university and go through clearing. But for a bit of context, I took English Lit, English language, history, and politics. So lots of writing, which I definitely enjoyed. But from my results, I kind of questioned whether I was like actually right for the career that I'd set myself kind of up for. And yeah, I was going to go and study law at university. Where I guess I thought I was probably going to become like the next Annalise Keating or like Elle Woods or Jessica Pearson, to be honest. But law school definitely was not like that. And that is, I guess, where my career journey began. So next slide, please, Sam. So 2020 was actually a real turning point for me and my career. COVID hit, so I guess that was a kind of like downside, but it did mean that the summer in between when I'd like finished for second year and was about to go into third year, it meant that I had lots of time to think about what my passions were, what I kind of wanted my future career to look like, and all of that good stuff. So I started creating some fashion content that I was posting online. I was writing articles and poetry and getting that published, and also worked with some friends on a virtual photo shoot, which was pretty interesting. And this is when I kind of realized that even though I was interested in law, I couldn't really let go of that creative side of me as well. So when I went back to uni for my final year later on that year, I spoke with my personal tutor and she gave me some of the best career advice I think I've ever been given. If you could move to the next slide, please, Sam. She said something like, when thinking about your future career, think about what you like to do in your spare time. And it's the stuff that you make extra time for that is what you're truly passionate about. And this is a really good starting point for figuring out your future career. I think that this quote, I think, will like stay with me forever because it was a real light bulb moment for me and just got me to actually think about, okay, what am I really passionate about? What do I really want to do in the future? So next slide, please, Sam. Then, of course, it was 2021. I'd finally made it. I had graduated university and was officially a law graduate. And that's when the anxiety of finding a job set in. Was I going to go down the creative side or legal? And I was also stressing about finding, I guess, quote unquote, a dream job right off the bat. I did decide to maybe play it safe slightly and got a job as a legal assistant. but while still creating some content on the side. And the consistency with creating content did pay off, and I managed to land some freelance jobs working with some fashion brands that were local to me. Next slide, please, Sam. And then 2022 hit, and I think this was such a major year in my career. So even though I was about 5 or 6 months into a legal job that, to be honest with you, I didn't really enjoy, I was definitely just determined to keep working on really cool projects and just developing my skills. So I'd been able to do some networking within the fashion communities that I was part of. And the result of this networking meant that I was able to assist on my first editorial shoot, and then also shot a spring summer campaign for cancer research, which was honestly lots of fun. And then about halfway through 2022, I just realized that enough was really enough, and set myself the goal that by the end of that year, I was just going to have a creative job. Like, I just really wanted one. And I actually saw an Instagram story about a freelance copywriting job at Eric. And I was like, oh, this really sounds like it's for me. Like, I love what Eric's doing. And yeah, I remember, I think I applied for the job like on my commute to my old job, just like praying that I'd manage to get an interview or be able to just talk with one of the team. And the job was definitely a big risk because it was like a freelance role instead of like the permanent job that I currently had. But something in my gut just felt right that I just needed to take this leap of faith. So moving on to 2023, I was after that I'd like worked at Eric for a bit of time, and was hired permanently at Eric, which was really, really, really great. But also continued to do some freelance projects on the side. So managed to be like the lead stylist on an editorial shoot, so you can see some of the pictures there. And also just continued attending networking events and just putting myself out there, connecting with people and all of that good stuff. And also, I guess, as part of that year, I think I also did some public speaking. At, I think it was Eric's first like insights event that we did, which was also a lot of fun. If you could go to the next slide, please, Sam. Yeah, you can see some of the pictures from the insights event. Oh, we all look like such babies. But yeah, I think also as part of that year, I also managed to publish a research paper that I'd been working on for the past 2 years. So I guess it just proves that you can, do both things. Like, if you want to do more like academic things, you can do that as well as doing creative stuff as well. So I guess just combining both of my passions. And then next slide, please, Sam. So now moving on to like 2024, so 2025, I guess I'm really in my career groove at this point. I think that at the start of 2024, I started off strong, still styling more shoots. And then later on in that year, I did get promoted to head of content at Eric, which is great. And then 2025, I know we're kind of still early in the year, but managed to still do some more public speaking and like building up my confidence and stuff like that, which has been a lot of fun. So just the last slide, please, Sam. I guess if there's anything that I want you to take away from this is firstly to follow your gut. I know that definitely sounds very, very cringe and a bit like wishy-washy. And I think it's definitely easier said than done, but I think that it's my gut that has allowed me to, take risks when I think that I need to take risks. And just like do the things I'm actually passionate about. I think obviously at the time you don't always know what your gut is telling you. I think my gut that sometimes was probably give me like a very uneasy feeling. But I think looking back in hindsight, I'm like, oh no, like it was telling me to, take risks and try new things and develop skills. And then the second one is not to underestimate the power of networking, especially Instagram. So for people that maybe don't always want to network in person, networking online is also like really, really great. And networking on Instagram and building community through Instagram has really allowed me to take on some freelance projects and just meet really, really cool people and work on some cool projects. The third one I think is just take your time. Like, I know that sometimes when you're in GCSEs or A levels or thinking about university or what you're going to do after school or after college or after sixth form, there is like a time pressure attached to it. But you know what? Just breathe. And, just think about what you're really, really interested in. There really is no time limit on discovering or developing your passions and skills. So yeah, just take a deep breath. The fourth one I think is definitely just make sure that you try out all of your different passions and interests. You don't have to restrict yourself to just doing one thing. Lots of jobs these days, and I'm sure you've probably heard this week, are asking for people that have, lots of different skills. So if you're interested in maybe like social media or content creation, they're looking for more than you just being creative. They might be looking for you to, like look at trends or look at analytics and things like that. So there's a lot of things you might need to be good at. So definitely make sure you try out lots of different things. And I guess the fifth and final one is obviously to download the Eric app. I honestly think that my creative career journey would have been lots easier if I'd actually just had the app in the first place and had one place to just scroll and have a look at, the opportunities that are out there and the events I could go to and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I think that's everything from me, and I'll now hand you over to Josh.
Josh, you might be on mute, just FYI. I don't know if you realise. Oh, we can see Slack.
I figured it out, I think. Yeah.
I think we got it. Yeah.
How do I move this tab? There you go.
Let's give it a go. Present. Nailed it.
Great. So hi guys, sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm Joshua and I'm the apprentice data analyst and lead scouter. So what does that actually mean? So 60% of my time I find opportunities for the Eric app and we post it through Eric Recommends. 20% of the time I do data related activities, whether that's for my apprenticeship or creating visualizations. And another 20% of the time I focus on efficiency, which is something that before doing this role, I didn't realize was an asset of mine, but it's something I've really excelled at since working at Eric. And as of Tuesday, I've been in the company for a year, which is crazy. So a bit about me. I studied television and radio, which is obviously not what I do now. I graduated with a 2-1, and then I started at Eric. Pretty straightforward, right? It seems like quite an upward trajectory. So yeah, the fantasy is that you go to school and college, you go to uni, you get your first job and you get promoted. The path looks pretty simple, and yeah, but in reality, things look a lot more like this. School, you go to school, you go to college, and you get your first uni choice. Things are looking great. But once you get to uni, you realize the course that you picked wasn't what you expected it to be. And you drop, or you might even drop out and look at other options. Eventually, things start to work out. You might graduate or you might get your first job, and you've made your parents proud. Things are looking good. But after a while, you might realize that the job that you've worked so hard to get doesn't actually align with your core values. Or it might not be what you thought it was going to be. So you take a placement and the placement pays you a fraction of what you're earning at this big corporate job, but it feels more aligned with your core values, I guess. So in the long run, you earn more and you find greater job satisfaction because you found where you truly belong. So was everything between school and your dream job just a massive waste of time? I don't think so. Just want to move this over slightly. Through trial and error, I learned where my skills were truly aligned. I learned what style of work best aligned with me and my core values. I learned how much colleague morale affects my performance at work. And I learned what the difference is when you work in a business that you actually believe in their goals. So one of my favorite quotes, and it's something that I've always sort of gone back to in my life when I've been lacking direction, is this Steve Jobs quote that goes, "You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backwards." And what it means is that the choices you make today, while they might seem random and unconnected, they will always lead you to the right place. So for me, doing this data role at Eric, it was never something I thought I would see myself doing, but in reality, it aligned with my working style. It allowed me to work in the creative industries on my terms, and it gave me the opportunity to help people like myself get into the creative industries. It also enabled me to work in a startup where my role was flexible and my contributions were valued. So I guess to sum it up, trust your journey, follow your passion, and embrace every choice. Even the wrong turns lead you to the right path. And I don't want to try botch this or whatever. So I just want to play 30 seconds from this Stanford 05 graduation speech that Steve Jobs did. Let's see if it plays.
My third story is about death. When I was 17,
sorry guys, 2 seconds.
True. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
So yeah, that speech has always guided me in life, and it's always been really
My third story,
good for me. And yeah, that's all I've got really. But I'll hand you back over to Sam. Appreciate it, guys. Good luck with your career journeys.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Josh. Right. That is every single one of the Eric team, bar May and I, and also the lovely Amber, who has been not with us for a while. So I couldn't force her to do a presentation on like her third day back. That would be so mean. But that is everyone sharing all their stories. So I just want to say thank you so much to the Eric members, because they really delivered. I just posted in our communal chat. They nailed the brief that I gave them. So absolutely amazing. Right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us.